Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me. It's me. It's Mike Lepre, King Michael. This is Legit Paranormal, brought to you by legitpodcast.com. Check us out at legitpodcast.com. No, it's legit podcast radio / airtime.pro. I know that's hard to hear, but it is March 6, 2022, which is 03062022, which is pretty cool for the math geeks because there's a lot you can do there with the threes and the twos. Now, joining me as usual, Joey Paranormal. How are you, Joe?
I'm home from the Cape. I can relax. I don't have to worry about walking on eggshells around anybody ranked higher than sergeant. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. I wouldn't want that either myself. You know what I mean?
Nice to have my life back for
that's
a couple weeks.
Yeah, I hear that. Hey, let's see how Buddy's doing. Let's just tune in to see how this goes. Buddy, how are you, buddy?
Hi guys, it's nice to be heard and it's nice to be seen for not just the last half of the show. So you see the green screen behind me. It's a working progress. So, but I'm doing good. I'm doing all right today. I'm really excited today because yesterday I went to Nikki's Liquor Store in Providence, which is a very well known for its craft beer and wines. Before I went to a certain location, and I found in the fridge there a beer that I've already had on the show as one of my beers of the week. I had it back in September. I got it in Maine, and that's up until now. This is the only place other than on draft that I thought I could find it. But it's a Maine beer company. It's called Lunch. It's a single IPA. It's 7.0. It's absolutely delicious.
It's good beer.
It's good to see they put the money in the beer and not the label.
Right. It's very plain. It says on the side, "Do the right thing." It's a good thing to say. I don't know. It's a good way to be. Lunch. Right. It's delicious. Try it. Run out to Nikki's Liquor Store. It's only $7.99 for a big, nice little bottle of this. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. So I figure, we're bringing back a guest. I can bring back a beer. So I found that one. I thought it would only be appropriate.
Sound logic.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense at all to me, but I'm going to roll whatever you guys say. Buddy, please do the introductions.
So to welcome back a former guest this evening, we're happy to welcome Zach Starrick, cryptozoologist, researcher of Bigfoots and cryptids from the southern Illinois region of the country. He's grilling right now outside. I can smell this, whatever it is he's grilling from here. And he brings with him researchers and his own members of his team. So we welcome Zach and his other team members.
What's up, Zach? How are you?
I am doing very, very well. I am 6 feet above the dirt. It's a beautiful day in southern Illinois, even though it's storming. But I'm up underneath my tarp, and I am grilling out because Mama wanted steak, and Mom didn't raise no sissy.
Amen.
The original Outlaw, man. I gotta tell you, I love it. I'm actually a big fan of his, which is kind of like, odd. Because I'm not a big fan of many there, Joey the Paranormal. But so Zach, why don't you introduce the two people I'm about to bring in, Sasquatch and Stacy.
Okay, well, first I'll introduce my dear friend, Mr. Stacy Coughlin. He is a Army veteran of quite a long time. He was in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he's actually a retired pro wrestler as well. He hails from Thibodaux, Louisiana, and he is our occult researcher for the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters. And then the gentleman in the center is my dear friend and my brother, Gail J. LaFoon Jr. He hails from Anna, Illinois, just a couple counties over, and he has actually had a couple encounters of his own that was actually very unique. 3 of them that he first told me about was very unique. And he runs security for our team. And I'll tell you, whenever I say he runs security, I say that for a reason, because you look at him from afar and you don't want to mess with him.
Why do you need security? What are you guys, the Beatles?
No, but here's the thing. We get out there in the woods and everything, you got to have somebody that's got your 6 pull and drag on a night hunt. So you got to go and have somebody you can actually count on and trust with your life. And I trust my life with Gail.
So Gail / Squatch. So if there's a bear coming, these guys are expecting you to go wrestle it.
Well, I will.
See, all right, that works. See, that makes sense. It's better to run away. You might as well, if you're gonna die, you're gonna die in being mauled by a bear. That's pretty.
I'm too big to run, so I had to learn to fight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sound logic.
Makes sense. So all right, so Zach, I don't mean to mute you, but when I do, it's just it clears up a little bit of static. So what is the name you guys are going by?
The Southern Illinois Monster Hunters. I started the team back in 2015, and Gail and Stacy are relatively new members of our team. We basically did a revamp of our team here at the turn of the new year, and I brought them in. Stacy has done work for the team here in the past with remote viewing and a technique he calls map dowsing for us, which is a dying art. And Stacy's is the only person I know of that can actually do it. And I put him in charge of teaching Gail how to do some of it too. And Gail's, from what I hear, a pretty good student of Stacy's. But I met Stacy a long time ago in a Facebook group and everything, and we've been like brothers ever since. And then Gail reached out to the team here. I think it was back in August, September, Gail. That was the first time we spoke.
August, yeah.
And he was interested in becoming a member of the team. And he'll tell you, whenever I'm interviewing potential members for this team, I grill them. And I mean, I treat it just like any kind of job interview. And, he passed the test. We voted him in. And, the rest is history. And there were 3 of the 6 members of the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters. Unfortunately, tonight, our tracker, Ben Bishop, our head researcher, Doc Galloway, and our caller / rookie, Grady Powell, couldn't make it tonight because Grady's an EMT. Ben has his son for the weekend, and Doc is out getting ready for work this next week because he's a physical therapist, so they couldn't unfortunately join us tonight. But I scared up the 2 guys that I can always count on, and I'll let you guys know, this is Gail's first time of ever being on a podcast, and me and Stacy have our own podcast and everything. So, Gail, we're popping your cherry tonight, brother.
So
It's about time.
Hey, Pop Jerry. Oh, I thought you'd be mad.
Not even a little.
You say nothing to nobody? All right. Hey, so then the call goes out, Southern Illinois Monster Hunters come together. Stacy, what do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the group?
Well, the first thing, when they get a call or they start to set up an investigation, Zach will send me, he'll drop a pin to me on Google Maps. So then I'll go into my office and I'll start looking at anything that could be in the area, what different cryptids might be there, where their moving routes are, where their structures are found to, how many's there, what do you have to expect? And then I download all that. I send those maps that I have, that I've worked up, and I send all that information to the team. So they've almost got an inside look into the area before they ever step boots on the ground to it.
How do you know which cryptid you're dealing with by looking at a map?
Well, I use a technique called map dowsing.
Okay.
And I use a pendulum.
Okay.
And the thing with using the pendulum and map dowsing is you have to ask specific questions. You don't ask any open-ended questions. They're either yes, no questions or specific questions of, if I'm looking at numbers, like how many Bigfoots are in this area, I may ask, is there more than 1? Is there more than 2? Is there more than 3? And as the pendulum responds to me, I've worked with my tools long enough, they start slowing down on their yes turns. And then I know to stop at that number and start looking for a counterclockwise no answer. And then I drop back 1 and re-ask the same question specifically. And I look for the clockwise yes answer in what I'm doing. So it's a yes, no question. Yes, no definitive questions is what I'm asking about an area.
Okay.
Now, if I'm asking for directions, I may ask the question of, can you give me a current trail of the Bigfoot that I'm looking at right then? And my pendulum will start swinging towards that area, and I know that is the way the directional trail works.
So walk me through this, because this is the pendulum has been my everyone makes fun of me of it because it's been my one sticking point for like over a year now. But here's my question, right? These are just questions that I keep thinking people that are just coming at it from a completely outside perspective and not knowing what it is that you do would ask. And that next question would be, what exactly is telling you directions? Like, what exactly is helping you move the pendulum, or not helping you, but helping the pendulum move so that it can therefore show you, 1, information, 2, location, and then 3, like pretty much the whole blueprint? Like, what is it that you're talking to? Technically.
The best answer for that is energy.
Okay.
Energy makes the universe go around.
Agreed.
So it's the energy from my thoughts of what I'm looking for. And you have to do this with an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go into something, and that's the reason a lot of times I don't like to know a lot of information when I'm looking at it. Because if you go into a map dowsing session and you have predetermined things on your mind, your pendulum is going to show you those predetermined things. If you go into it with a clear mind, you're not thinking about anything in particular, you're letting your thoughts just go, then you will see what you're asking the questions of that's there and not what you want to see.
All right. But on that token, so with a clear mind, you can make it do this. However, with my claim is, and again, I guess everybody can stop the drink, because I'm Italian, I have an old school upbringing where I don't quite trust everything. Like, I'm skeptical about everything, right? So the thing with the pendulum is, so in that, what you just said, it tells me also that someone could make it move the way they want it to just by what they're thinking or feeling or pulling for. Does that make sense?
Yes, they can.
All right, so see what I mean? So there's people that they just come out being true because they're just letting go. But then there's going to be that certain percentage that are like keeping it in their head, and that's what's making the energy in their body go the way that they want it to go. That's what I meant about the pendulum. It's so subjective in the sense that, like, it's caused by what's going on in your body. So if you're thinking of something, which is the way of, like, to make it go one way, then it's going to go that way. But if you're completely blank, then we're getting somewhere.
Right. Yeah, your own thoughts can screw you up whenever you're doing pendulum. And it's the same thing when I'm using my dowsing rods, whether I'm using my pendulum, anything that I'm doing, your thoughts can screw you up.
That's so true for every part of life, too.
Yeah. So you have to have an open mind, a clear mind, and not go into it thinking that you're going to find something every time. Because there's times that Zach has sent me maps. He said, hey, can you look at this? And I'll look at it, and I'll be like, Zach, there's nothing there. Because you don't want to, you got to know you're not going to find something every time.
All right. So I'm going to come back to Stacey, you again, because I'm going to ask you next time about why you have that ability to do this. Squatch, from King to Squatch, what do you bring other than security to the team? I mean, you got the best nickname by far. I know what that's like to be the best nickname in the group. But anyways, what do you bring to the table?
Well, besides just security, I can track on foot. I can track on horseback. I spend more time in the woods than the average man, for sure. That's how I got the name Squatch. And I'm real big on safety and keeping my team safe. That is the most important part to me.
That's
But
a big deal.
I track and hunt. I spend more time in the woods than I do with my wife and kids. It's almost shameful to say, but that's why they call me Squatch, because I come out of the woods mid-December with a beard out to here and look like Paul Bunyan.
So wait. So then my question to you would be, what is it about the woods that, one, draws you to it so much, and two, appears to draw the paranormal to it so much?
Well, the draw for me, I'd have to say, is my Native American roots. My great-grandma was a full-blooded Cree woman, and she just, anytime I was with her, we were in the woods. I spent my whole life out there. And I feel more at home at the woods than I do in a big king-size bed. I'd rather sleep in the dirt.
Wow. I gotta be honest. I got woods where I live, and they're obviously not woods like the woods where you live, but for towns for a long time, we had a lot of woods, like a great area of woods, and I was never a big fan of the woods from the start. Like, I think the first time I was ever in the woods, I must have got whiplashed. You know when you follow somebody too close? See, these guys, they never have that happen to them. But for those of us that don't know how to walk through the woods, walk in front of your buddy and he doesn't tell you that he's pushing back a branch that's going to swing back and slap you. That was a common thing that we did to each other here up in Rhode Island. Like, you didn't tell your buddy that it's coming. You wanted to see the reaction, that jackass reaction of, like, you don't even catch it in the face. So there's a lot of my memories about the woods. That's the problem I have with that. Joe, what do you got?
So a couple weeks ago, we had a woman on our show named Dr. Kimberly George, and she kind of talked about cryptids, Bigfoot, other entities that you could see. And she said that, you know, that they could possibly be creatures actually coming from another dimension that are just happening to find their ways into our dimension. And I was wondering, since it seems like it's something you guys kind of specialize in tracking in things of that nature, do you feel that could be a possibility, or do you have a different way to look at it?
As far as Bigfoot itself, and not all of our beliefs line up equally, and I think that's what makes us a great team. But, you know, my grandma and Bigfoot come over when people come to the Americas the first time out of the Alps. And I think they're 100% natural. They're just here and really good at camouflaging themselves. As far as interdimensional goes, I do believe in some of that, but as far as Sasquatch himself, no.
Out of the Alps, why? Because of the melting?
Do what?
Out of the Alps, why? Like, what forced them onto the Alps?
I think just looking for new food. The same reason we came, looking for new food, new territory.
All right. So let me. This is Zach. And Zach, we were both at the Bigfoot Con in Fort Defiant. Here's a question I had, though. The one thing that me and Kev picked up on really quickly, and I would say me, Kev, and Buddy, but Buddy just left and did his own thing the whole time. Didn't help us once set up a single thing, not once. No offense, Buddy, you didn't help once. So one thing me and Kev noticed was that as you went table by table, you had a different reasoning about Bigfoot in general. And then you had, like, actually some tables that, like, completely went against what the other table believed. Like, I what I'm saying is, I never thought there'd be so many different opinions of them, and how some people hold really hard to the fact of what they believe in about them, and nobody else. So, like, the fact that you guys all have different opinions and are still, like, are doing it together, it's fantastic. Because
that's why I brought this team.
The room was a little split up like that.
That's the reason I brought this team together. I don't want people with the same opinion as I do. I want diverse opinions. I want insight on something. I want to learn stuff I don't know. You know, with knowing Stacy and Gail, you know, I've learned more than I have in the last couple years than I have since I put this team together 7 years ago. And, you know, I mean, you know, not everybody on our team has actually seen a Bigfoot or a dog man. You know, Gail, me, Stacy, and Ben are the only ones on the team that's ever seen one. And Doc and Grady, they're the only ones that haven't. And, you know, but I go and I give them all kinds of stuff to study up on and everything, because, I mean, nobody's able to get out in the woods as much as the four of us are, as much as me, Gail, Stacy, and Ben are, because, you know, with schooling and getting degrees and jobs, you know, we're not able to get out as much as we want to. But, you know, I don't want that, you know, because my original team was just full of a bunch of yes men, and I don't like that. You know, I want somebody that we can actually have, a group that we can actually have a healthy debate and, you know, try and bounce ideas and everything of what these things could be. Because, I mean, our team, we talk every day throughout the day and everything. We're a tight-knit group. We're a brotherhood. And, you know, we go and we'll talk. I mean, we send funny videos and memes and stuff and everything, but whenever it gets down to the nitty-gritty, we're actually going and we are actually challenging each other. And Stacy likes to go and challenge our brains and really make us pick our brains on stuff. And he'll bring up all kinds of stuff and everything, like angel numbers, ether, the elements, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. And, you know, that's the thing with our team. If you look at so many teams like the BFRO, the Bluff Creek Project, you know, they go and they all have this one thing in their head and everything. But whenever us, it's a smelting pot of ideals on what these things could actually be.
All right, here's my question. All three of you saw a Bigfoot. Wasn't at the same time, correct?
Correct.
No.
Correct.
All right.
No.
So, when you guys describe it to each other, was it dead on, or did you see completely different versions of the Bigfoot? Stacy, go ahead first.
Mine was different because when I seen mine, I was so young that it scared the hell out of me being a young kid and seeing something like that. But now that I got older, I realized that what I seen was a juvenile. It wasn't a full-grown adult. So for what I seen, it fits the description of what a juvenile would be like.
So a juvenile. So you were a small. And what is the description of a juvenile? And can we agree that's not we have to call them big feet? Can we please use the past tense, Joey? What's the rule on that? You got the book out because it's like it gets confusing with Bigfoot plural.
I think
big feet.
I'm sticking with Bigfoot.
Oh, God damn it!
Well,
all right, go ahead, Stacy.
No, what I was going to say was juvenile. Really, I've wondered the same question and I've never really gotten an answer on whenever I'm doing a reading, what the difference is between a juvenile and an adult. Whenever I'm doing a map dowsing or anything. So I'm going to have to let Zach try to answer that one because I've never really come up with a solid answer where you have a definitive line. Like a human, you have 18 years old. Anything under is considered a juvenile. Anything older is considered an adult. In the Bigfoot community, I've never gotten
All right,
a
so
straight answer.
you're saying you saw a young one. You just don't want to classify his age kind of like a woman because you don't want to misjudge him and put him in the wrong category. You know what I mean? Basically,
Well, I've
like
never
you
had
know he was young, is what you said.
I've never had that definitive answer on what the difference in the two is, where that age stop at, where it crosses over from being a juvenile to an adult. I've never understood that, where that line is.
Zach, is there such a line? And do you understand what I'm saying in the sense of like if he felt the Bigfoot being a youth at least, wouldn't that be the sign?
I mean, you know, whenever I go and I try to classify whether they're adult or a juvenile, you know, it's just like whenever I associate with humans and everything, once we hit puberty and everything, things start to develop and everything, you know, extra body hair, mammary glands, genital areas start producing more hair, stuff like that, more testosterone, more body hair, period. You know, not all of us, but still, you get my gist.
All right, so then the age squats that you saw. What do we got?
I've seen 3 different ones, and none of the 3 look the same. So it's kind of hard to answer your question.
All right, so in how short of a time did you see 3 big feet?
It was over Well, it was over my entire lifespan. The last one, most recent, was just this last fall. But I've seen 2 males and a female.
All right. Have to ask this one. How do you know which one was the male? Which one was the female?
Well, the female has a body like a woman, and the males look like they could tear me in two.
What kind of woman we talking about, though?
Well, I can give you a brief description of the encounter.
Yep. Please do.
I was out jugging catfish, and I felt all evening that evening I'd been being watched. And I pulled up, got my boat on the trailer, jugs and stuff, and this thing just eased its way out from behind 2 Russian olive bushes. And she was real skinny and real poor, starving looking. And she just stood there, and I laid 2 catfish out for her to eat and left her. That was the end of the encounter. I left them there. I come back the next day to check for tracks and make sure I wasn't losing my marbles. And I'd actually got a pink marble that had been left lay there for me where I left them catfish lay.
How did you sleep that night? Look, what are we talking about here? You go bass fishing. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, different type of fishing. Catfishing. We do bass fishing here. So catfishing, and you end up seeing a skinny Bigfoot that's hungry. You feed it, it leaves, and then you just go home and go to bed. Like, what I'm trying to say is I'd be home talking to everybody I know on the phone. Like, you're not going to believe this. Like, I saw this skinny Bigfoot girl. I fed her 2 fish, goody Google. I'm going to go see if she's back tomorrow. Like, I couldn't sleep. Like, help me. And I mean this in a I'm a negative way, you're a positive way. I wouldn't be able to sleep after seeing something like that, but like I'd have to walk it off.
I was just happy that I was able to help her out, and I got to see another one. I treasure every chance I get to see one.
All right, take me to part 2.
Part 2. Which part do you want? Because I got 3. My first encounter was scarier than shit, boy. I'm gonna tell you something.
Let's start with that then.
I was 10, spending the night with my aunt. Yep. Me and my little cousin, we was out playing, and he's passed away now. We was out playing baseball on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and we smelled something coming up out of the woods. And my aunt is a hardcore, go to church every Sunday, you don't miss, period. Mm-hmm. Well, we're out playing ball, and she says, I smell a skunk. I want you boys in the house. I'm not dragging you to church smelling like skunk. Well, I didn't get to spend the night with them a whole lot, so she kind of let me do what I want. And I said, hey, can we stay up late and watch movies? And the whole time, and she agreed the whole time, me and my cousin, I said, that's not a skunk. We're going to see what that was. We're just stupid kids. Well, I can remember we was watching the Three Stooges doing something ignorant, and we had the bedroom window open, and we smelled it again. We got up, we snuck down the hallway, and they had them big storm lights around the front of the deck. And so we reeled the curtains up, flipped on them storm lights, and boys, I tell you, holy shit. I was scared to death. And that sucker leaned down. He was white, but he was dirty. And I could even remember his blue eyes. And he grabbed the rail of the porch and leaned in and looked right at us through the window.
Did you catch him off guard with the light? Or was he like...
Well, he's a local legend that y'all can actually look up, and he's known for having a bad temper. When I was 10, I didn't know this. He's called the Big Muddy Monster.
I'd be pissed off about that name too, but yeah.
So anyway, we dropped the curtains, we ran, we went in the bedroom, and there he beat us to that bedroom. There he was with his face pressed up against the glass. I mean, just breathing. And you could just tell that he absolutely wanted to rip our guts out.
So then what did you guys do? As kids, did you just hide or did you antagonize him?
Well, I didn't know what else to do. And I've been raised, everything's scared of a gun. So I reach over and grab this little Red Ryder BB gun. And I drew it up. And I'm shaking. You can hear the BBs rattling. I'm just shaking my ass off. And all he seen was a gun. That's all that mattered. And he reached up both hands and he slapped the side of that house so damn hard it woke my uncle up. And he took off. And that was the last we seen of him. But
Is that a Red Ryder like from Christmas Story BB gun? You know, you shoot
Yeah.
right out, kid. Really?
yep.
Oh man, I had one of those for a while, and then I ended up shooting something out, and my parents took it. But that was great. Those BB guns were the best.
Yeah,
really were.
I drew that poor
It-
little BB, and all I had between me and him was a pane of glass and that little BB gun, and I was scared to death.
All right, so then what
But,
comes next? Which one's second?
The second was the female when I was about 21.
Okay, that was the
And
skinny
then-
one, right?
Yeah, that's the skinny one.
All right.
And then the last one was here in my own backyard in Ava, Illinois. I got up one evening. It was I was having trouble sleeping. I thought I'd go out on the porch and get me some fresh air. Well, I got fruit trees in my backyard. And I had just 2 weeks before that cut one down. And I went out and I looked. And then all of a sudden I got three trees in my yard. I'm like, what the hell is that? Now I'm 6'5", 400 pounds. I'm standing on a 4-foot tall deck from the ground up. And this son bitch damn near looking me in the eye.
Wow.
And he just stood there, he didn't want to be seen. He didn't want me to come out there. He was raiding my pear tree. And he just standing there like, I'm a fucking tree. I'm a tree. I'm a tree. So I run in to grab my phone and my camera. And by the time I got back out, we got a barbed wire fence across the backyard. And all you could hear was the twang of the barbed wire. And he was gone. And I went out the next day, and I've actually got pictures of his tracks in our ditch.
All right. So wait a minute. So guys, tell me this, and Stacy, maybe even you'll know. Obviously, you will. He saw 3 different types of Sasquatches, Bigfoot, as far as big feet, as far as I'm concerned. Now, does that make them different species, or does that just make them different? Like the same species, just everybody's a little bit different.
I would say it's kind of like us sitting here, Mike, looking at you, Joey, and Buddy. Y'all are all 3 humans, but you all look different. You're different size, different shapes, different hair color, and it's the same thing with the Bigfoot.
Same tribe, though. All right.
Now you got
Zach, is that
different, you got different clans, but you still got the same gist and general area.
All right, but Zach, so does that bring in the fact that there could be the paranormal? They disappear, big feet, the big feet, Bigfoot that live on the ground, the Bigfoot that are actually more like an ape. Like there's so many different like levels of Bigfoot. You want to say big feet, but Bigfoot. Does that mean that they're all the same thing too, or does that make them different species?
Here's the thing. I agree with Stacy. You know, I believe we're dealing with something of the same species, but they all look different. Just like even with the human species, Homo sapien, we have African, Russian, English, Native American, South American, Hispanic,
European.
indigenous. You know, that's what I'm trying to get to, is that we're going and they're all the same species, they just look different, just like all those ethnic groups I rattled off.
So does that mean Dogman is connected to Bigfoot, or does that just stay within the big feet?
I believe that whenever it comes to a Dogman, is that it's something completely removed from what a Bigfoot actually is.
You guys agree with that?
I do.
Yeah, Dogman's just something that you just don't want to play with.
How so? Like, why would I want to play with it in the first place? I guess that's my question. Like, who plays with Dogman? Is there anybody?
I would ask Gail about playing with Dogman. He's the expert on playing with the Dogman.
All right, so Squatch, tell me how you play with the Dogman.
Well, I had a sighting out here one evening headed north of my place, taking my wife and kids out to dinner one night, and I saw eye shine. And these guys have gouged me for it ever since. So I couldn't stand it and wait on the team to get together because I've been independent forever. And so I went back and I checked out the den area and everything by myself. I didn't feel threatened, but I felt watched. I found sign tracks, all that. But if they're going to eat me, what the hell are they going to eat me?
Yeah.
They never
Yeah, we
did.
weren't too happy about that part. Yeah,
Well,
like
I
John
got
said,
Wall
we're
Street.
tight knit, so we was
Oh, trust me, I
we were
reprimanded
worried
him
about
for it.
Yeah, I heard all about it.
All right, so wait,
Well,
what
it's
did
just
dog?
here's the thing: is that we go and we take our team's safety very seriously. You know, even if I tell them, I say, if you're going to go out there alone, you let us know where you're going to be at, and you check in with us ever so often, so that way we know you're okay. You give us a GPS pin, so that way we know where to start looking for you if something comes up and we don't hear from you.
So then here's my question. First of all, there's reason to be scared of Bigfoot or Dogman or cryptids, right? Because they're all not working on the same level, same whatever. But what exactly did Dogman do to you? Like, if you had to give me more of a, like, this is what Dogman did to me.
They're definitely far more carnivorous, and people are on the menu.
Mm-hmm. You're part of their food chain that they like to enjoy. They're known predators that will attack. There's people that have come up missing in the middle of the afternoon, and they found large canine tracks around the area the person was last seen. And you're talking about a canine track, as big as both your hands put together. So that's where the dog man first in Michigan started getting his reputation for really being a predator and a killer.
So, Squatch, let me ask you this, because this is my issue with anything paranormal. I feel like it gets to the point sometimes you just kind of have to stand your ground, and you're either going to get mauled by something or you're not going to. So,
Yeah.
is that kind of what you did there? Like, it was just like, you know what, it is what it is. I got myself this far. It's either going to be what it's going to be, but I'm going to stand here, at least take it.
Well, yeah, and it's where the sighting took place and where they had set up shop for a spell is where I hunt and where I take my kids to hunt. And I didn't, you can ask the whole team, I didn't want them there. And I wanted to know that I was there, and I didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you
I'm
got that
gonna-
jump on the grenade type attitude. I like that. Go ahead, Stacey.
Now, Mike, I do want to put my input in on a question that you've hit on several times, and Joey's brought it up and everything. Out of all my investigations I've ever done, and out of all of my research and learning that I've ever done, I wouldn't put Bigfoot into a paranormal realm per se.
Okay. So you believe that it's
They've
not
got a lot of
paranormal.
tricks up their sleeves, but I don't think phasing in and out of our plane to another plane is one that they may have.
Okay. So you're more of it's a real animal, physical animal.
Well, I mean, in my realm of the occult, I deal with everything, so I've got to be a little more open-minded of what I'm looking at.
So, I got a question, if you don't mind, Mike.
Go ahead.
So for me, when it comes to kind of like creatures, cryptids, elementals, and things like that, I don't know a lot actually. So I love a lot of this information. But one of the things that I have read into and tried to get as much information as I could is the skinwalkers. That's something that I find extremely interesting. Well,
I'm 100% out of this conversation when it comes to skinwalkers.
Nope,
All right, so
not doing it, Joey. Not doing it. I've ranked them right up there with Wendigos. Nope, ain't playing with them.
Okay, so I mean that's kind of where I was going, and I'd like to actually hear a lot what you guys are thinking now. But I was going to say more or less, do you think like maybe Bigfoot or some other creatures that you may have encountered or studied have some kind of, and I think Squatch might, you may have an opinion on this, have a more like Native American background, or they have some kind of ties to the actual people who had this land or who lived here long before the British settled here. So, or English, I guess, that time so long ago.
Yeah, it's as long as my Native American roots go. Just about every cryptid, I believe some traveled over from Europe, and I think Dogman may be one. Skinwalkers are created, not born. And I made a promise to my great grandma years ago that I'd never fool around with it.
All right. Fool around with it. What? Not even talk about them?
No,
Like
we're not even supposed to mention their name. She would slap me in the mouth right now.
All right,
For having
but
this
Listen,
conversation.
I
as
apologize.
a comic book reader, the Wendigo is a big part of like a lot of Marvel comics. Growing up as a kid, 70s and 80s, fought the Hulk, went after Spider-Man, fought Wolverine. Actually, I think in the very first Wolverine ever appearance, he's fighting the Hulk and the Wendigo are all. And the Wendigo was a guy that I don't know what the spell was. That's how up to it I am. But it was the name itself, and he would repeat it, and he would turn into this white, hairy creature. So, like, I've said that name plenty of times. Does that mean that and I'm being serious when I say this, does that mean that I'm poking the bear and I just don't know it? Or
as far as the Wendigo goes, no. But as far as a skinwalker goes, mentioning them attracts them.
Yeah. As far as even in knowledge in the Yena Delushi, their Native American name of the Navajo language, just even mentioning them, it's just basically like saying Voldemort and Harry Potter. They're bearing down on you.
But what are they? Why would I be worried about them? And I know that sounds dumb.
Well, since Gail won't talk about it, Gail, I'm not going to bring you into this, but I'll talk about it because I've studied on the origins of skinwalkers. A skinwalker is a Native in history is a Native American medicine man or a warlock or witch that is looking to do harm to somebody. And the only way to become a skinwalker is to actually kill a loved one or a member of your own family.
All right. Wait a minute. Repeat that again at the end.
I said the only way to become a skinwalker is to kill a loved one or a member of your own family.
All right. So a skinwalker is somebody that was killed by someone in their own family.
No.
No.
Skinwalker is a medicine man who changed himself through ceremony into what a skinwalker is. By killing a member of his family was the final part of the transformation.
So these people, but what I'm asking is people that end up killing siblings, it could be part of their transformation.
Correct.
Or is that just the original skinwalker? You see what I'm saying? Like, this is how everybody goes? Or was there the original one and there's been ones ever since?
To be a skinwalker was a choice.
All right.
They chose to be a skinwalker.
Why? To inflict pain on the past?
To do harm.
So these are the real jerks.
I really don't like to talk about this, but the original skinwalker did what he did because the white man was settling and to do away with him quickly and painfully.
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, I even feel bad that we've gone down this path because really, I was just curious if you think that some of, like Bigfoot, for example, was.
What do you feel bad about?
I don't feel
well,
bad.
I don't want to make it
don't feel bad
uncomfortable,
about it, Joey.
The main reason I asked was just because I was curious if you think like Bigfoot was, you said they might have migrated, but was it even possible that they could have like had Native American origins, or if there are other creatures that you think possibly that not see, and now I don't know how exactly to put it, but basically that may have lived closely with Native Americans who lived here before us and then have kind of gone scarce and gone in hiding once.
Well, I got a theory about that.
Okay.
And this is from years of just really mulling it over in my head. You know, you look back through Native American history and mythology and folklore, they say that Bigfoot was actually a tribe that they recognized. And if you look in, what is it, Stacy? It's the 5 laws of Native American, and the Bigfoot's actually one of them for honesty, I think.
Yeah, it's up in the Pacific Northwest. I don't remember the tribe, but yes, you're correct. That is in their realm of their beliefs. Bigfoot is a part of it.
Well, the thing, what I'm getting to is, any kind of folklore They say that they had a sort of a symbiotic relationship with these things, that they lived in harmony with them, and that they sometimes even went to war with them. You read about the Bigfoot wars in the American Southwest back in, over 500-600 years ago. But the thing is, I believe that they did at one time live in harmony with certain tribes. But whenever the white man came over from Europe, they brought silks, they brought riches, and they brought disease and smallpox and measles and all kinds of stuff. Just like whenever it comes to the Native Americans that didn't have any natural immunity to these things, Bigfoot didn't have no natural immunity to it either. And like with the Native American tribes, they suffered great casualties, almost genocidal numbers, from just contracting these diseases. So I believe that, Bigfoot saw that their dead was falling and their infected were dying. And they all just made up their minds and said, we're going to go in self-quarantine. And then they retreated into the woods, never to be associated around men again.
Well, and
I got a question for you, for the three of you gentlemen. So, being a ghost guy, we've had a lot of cryptid guys on here, and it seems like a lot of cryptids, like not Bigfoot per se, but like Chupacabra or Loch Ness Monster or the Dogman. They all have certain regions of the world or the country or different climatic environments that they're subject to. But whereas Bigfoot, you get Bigfoot everywhere around the world has a Bigfoot story. He's in China, he's in the Alps, he's in the Himalayas, he's in the Pacific Northwest, he's in Canada, he's in Illinois, he's in Kentucky, he's in Virginia, he's in Rhode Island even. Why is that?
Migration.
Yeah. Well, why is Bigfoot the only cryptid to do that kind of migration? Why don't we see all these other cryptids all over the world,
Well, I believe it's his association with man. He, anywhere we can set up shop, they can set up shop. If we find food, there's food there for them. I think they're a lot smarter than other cryptids.
All right.
They're a lot smarter than we are.
So they're more like a humanoid, maybe like the missing link, for example.
No, I don't. I wouldn't go down that rabbit hole, but I would call them a separate tree to their own.
All right. So let's bring this down to the street level. So
okay.
The Bigfoot are their own species. There can be many versions of them. The Yeti, depends, I guess, where they are, like how they adapted to nature. That I get. That's what I totally believed in my whole life about Bigfoot. Like that there would be different types of Bigfoot per the area that it was. That only makes sense. Just kind of how everything developed. Now I can see them also as another species that went to hide when whatever made us from apes to us happened, and then we became another species, and we were obviously harmful to them. But so here's what I don't get the most out of every Bigfoot event I've been to. I'll hear people tell me a story about Bigfoot, and it'll go along the lines of, so I was camped out and I was ready for Bigfoot, and then all of a sudden there he was, 15 feet away from me. So I ran, and I'm not, so I know it's dumb of me, but there's a part of me that always goes, why do they never run back towards the Bigfoot? Like everybody goes looking for him, finds him, and then runs away. It's like if I lost my keys, I found them, picked them up, and then was like, I threw them.
Have you ever had a
What's the
sighting?
point? What?
Have you ever had a sighting yourself?
No, but my point is, if I'm looking for a sighting and a sighting happens, fuck it. It's going to be what's going to be. I got to go. This is why I'm here. So let's see what happens. Good.
Mike, it goes along with the saying, watch what you wish for. You just might get it, and then you're not prepared for when you get it.
All right. Okay.
You might think you're ready, But the initial shock, even with all 3 times, the initial shock is, oh shit, because they're not small; they're intimidating.
I know, man. I'm with that. I've had moments in my life where I was like, oh shit, like, oh, this is gonna be really bad. Like I was in a band that had a guitar player that drank a lot, right? So we played in this show, and it was a sold out show in Worcester, Mass. And we had this group of skinheads come in, and there was like maybe 20, 25 deep, and just don't want to deal with them, don't want to have any problem with them, and they kept bouncing on the guitar gear, from slam dancing, bouncing on guitar gear. And my guitar player, thinking he's, I don't know who, is playing and takes like a 3-step drop and kicks him like a field goal kicker right across the face. So I'm like, that's not good. We're loading, and him. We're loading out that night, and the van could only go one way. It was that thin of a loadout, and it was like an alley. So we're loading out the van way in the back. We can only go in reverse. And like a bad movie, it was just like, you just saw like 30 skinheads come around the corner. And just come walking down the alley. And I'm going to be honest, I know Bigfoot's much scarier, but that was a oh shit moment. Like, oh, here we go. Like, it's going to be what it's going to be. What am I going to do? Let's see what happens. I'm just saying, that's my opinion of it.
Here's
So
the
I don't see why you want to go forward. Go ahead.
Here's the thing, and this, I'll speak for Stacy and Gail, and we all 3 agree on this. You talk a big game now, but whenever the opportunity actually presents itself, because, up until I had my first Bigfoot encounter, where I actually saw one face to face 7 years ago, I said, I'm not scared of anything. I would look the devil in the face and spit in his eye and kick him in the balls, and I'd take over his throne. But here's the thing. Everybody, it's just like Stacy, you can attest to this. You were in the Army. You probably had a bunch of boots and basics that went and said, I'm not going to run. I'm going to be right there on the front line, and I'm going to be returning fire on the enemy. And then you get out there, and there's guys crying for their mama.
Okay.
It's the same thing.
But still, so seeing how this is a legit paranormal, just so you guys know, we do legit basketball, legit wrestling, legit fantasy football. And we got together and we decided to do a legit fantasy football league because these guys all think they're really intelligent about fantasy football. But I want to just speak back to Zach for a minute. As a fantasy champion here on a legit podcast. See, Zach, here's what I'm saying to you. I'm not saying that I'm brave. What I'm saying is, and this has happened, I can give you many instances in my life where something happened and I just ran forward because that's just how I was taught. So my problem is I'm the kind of guy that dies off something stupid because I run right into it. So if I did see the Bigfoot and I was out there to find him, I'm telling you, I can't look. That's my point. Why not just go forward? You did all this work to get there. There he is. Let's go figure this out. And let me put it this way. Maybe it's because of the way that I live my life that I think, if I'm going to go out, going out getting pounded by a Bigfoot is pretty damn cool. And there's going to be some pretty cool stories for my kids to tell for a couple of generations. So,
it's just the thing is,
no, I'm just asking you, like being serious.
Hey, Zach,
it's the fight or flight
There
instinct.
Yep.
We're very, very aware of our own mortality. You don't know, like you see some thug in the street, you don't know if he's acting or if he's being 100% legit. You don't know if he's got a knife or he's got a 9mm on him. You're not going to put your limits with these things, and it's just like with any kind of predator in the wild, whether it's a mountain lion or a bear or even an alligator. You are not going to go and push these limits because you're dealing with something, and they're just like us. If you back them into a corner, they're going to go and they're going to fight back to get out because it's fight or flight with them as well.
Zach, I agree, but you're going looking for the motherfucker. You're looking for Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're looking for him. So then when you find them, Squatch, find them.
Let me give you an answer for what you're asking.
All right, Steve.
Okay. All the guys on this team, we're experienced. The guys that have seen Bigfoots, guys that have dealt with it, not only Bigfoots, but other cryptids that are out there and paranormal also. And there's days that I know me and Zach, we've had conversations, and all of this is kind of like Pandora's box. And we're like, you know, some days we wish we didn't know what we knew, because to know what we know still even scares us.
All right.
So
But you're knocking on the
looking at
box.
a seasoned person, and if they tell you that dealing with cryptids don't scare them, then they're looking to run into the wrong one, because you got to be honest with yourself. When you deal with something that's 12, 13 feet high, 500 to 700 pounds, and you know, it's scary.
All right. But wait, Squatch, you go looking, right? You
Yeah.
find it. Are you running? If you get to
No.
meet it? Here we go.
The
So why are you-
first time, I was terrified. I was a 10-year-old kid, and the thing was a monster.
That's
Absolute
different.
monster.
Being a
But
kid-
at this point, and I go by something my grandma taught me. She goes, if you're going looking for a fight, you'll by God find one.
there it is. That's exactly what the thing.
Right.
That's exactly how I grew up. If you go looking for a fight, you're gonna have one. Or I grew up with, if your brother gets into a fight, you better damn sure be in that fight too.
When dealing
It'll
with
be like
cryptids,
you don't-
She
like
also
dealing with
said,
paranormal, you better respect it.
yeah, if you go looking for respect, you'll find peace.
All right, so I'm with that. All right, so I'm with that. But what I'm saying is, the majority of times I hear people spotting Bigfoot, they leave. So I don't.
I think,
help me
honestly,
with that.
the shock factor gets the best of them. You know, they're just
That's all
doing
the
it
training.
for shits and giggles. Okay, they're just going out there. It'd be cool to see a Sasquatch. Yeah, it is, and it sounds cool, and it looks cool on TV. But when you're standing 10 feet from that son of a bitch and you're looking up about breaking your neck to see his face, then the old shit factor kicks in, and it's time to go somewhere else.
And I'm 100% with that. See, I wouldn't go looking for Sasquatch. That's the difference. Like, I'm not looking for Sasquatch. My dog's big enough. What I'm saying is, if I do go looking for Sasquatch, or if I do go looking for anybody that there is, no matter what comes back, why would I go looking, find them, and then run away from them? I mean, it's not fear. It has nothing to do with that. I'm talking about, I'm purposely going to do something. So why would I not at the last second?
Well, Mike,
throw it
it's kind
to
of
me?
like when people go ghost hunting. They want to go in this house because they've heard it's haunted. They want to have an experience. And then when they finally do have that experience, they go running out the building, screaming, saying, oh my God, my heart about blew out of my chest because it scared me so bad. It's the same thing, whether it's a ghost, whether it's a cryptid. People want to until they get it. And then they're
want it.
scared. You know, it just scares the crap out of them.
I think
All right.
a lot of it, and a lot of the videos we see of people go looking, it's a cheap thrill
All right.
until it's real.
See, I get that. So
Yep.
the way that this show was formed, and the whole idea behind this was that because we do so many sports shows, I wanted to do like an Art Bell type show. I'm an Art Bell fan from back in the day, so I was like, let's do a show like that on a Sunday night. So as we've gone through this, and it's been over a year, and there's been so many different cryptid takes, right? And there's been so many different takes of even what like ghosts, for example, let's say spirits. We went on the USS Salem, which is a very haunted old school battleship. Buddy and Joey Paranormal had everything hooked up and recorded and videotaped it. We caught a lot of voices like in different spots. And there was actually a room that, I'll be honest, that when I went into it, it felt like my chest was going to collapse. I wanted to get out of it. But the overwhelming feeling that I had on the boat was that I kept having to stare in an area and introduce myself repeatedly. And I can't explain it. Maybe because my wife was with me, I don't know, but that was what my habit was. So there definitely was something there that was making me do that. I get that. But I actually felt, and I remember, buddy, I don't know if you do remember this, but I remember thinking, if I show a little bit of fear, this is going to go really bad.
Right.
Feel it, guys. It was the weirdest, dumbest thing. And I was like, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to be like, hey, this is me. I respect you. I don't want any problems. Don't follow me home. You know what I mean? Because I don't really want that in my life. Got enough problems. and I would walk from room to room. But I swear to you, I was like staring someone down in the sense of I had to recognize them. So my thing is with me, if I ever found the Bigfoot, like I know it's dumb. I'm not saying what I'm saying is brave or the right way or whatever. But I'd be with Squatch in the sense that I'd be like, all right, let's go fucking figure this out. We came all the way out here to see it. Let's see what it does to us or what happens or what goes on. Maybe it doesn't hurt us. Who knows? Like
Well,
my point is,
Mike,
if I go looking for something, I'm just gonna swallow it and take the castor oil.
Mike, that's something. One of the things that me and Zach has always discussed, and it was one thing that this team is about, is not just the investigation part of it, but to help people deal with that. Oh shit! I just had a run-in with a cryptid. To let them know, look, you're not losing your mind. Everything's okay. Not all Bigfoot are out to, trying to be like a Wookiee and remove body parts. They're 90% of the time they're just as curious about you as you are of them. So it's more or less an education part of it too, to let people know that, with Bigfoot, there are the good ones, you've got the bad ones, like the Ohio grass man. He's been known to be aggressive. But then you've got Bigfoot in other areas that aren't aggressive. And when they get around you, they're curious. They want to know what are you doing? What are you up to? What are you as a person? And so there's a big education thing there also with people.
All right. So how big is the actual Bigfoot community? And I mean by community, just like how big do you think of a group we have within the whole entire world? Like, do we have a lot of
Zach's
different
answer on that one.
Zach? Many
You
species.
talking about population size? Or you talking about the actual Bigfoot community like us?
Population size.
Oh God.
Their species.
You know, I couldn't even tell you.
Taxes. How many would be paying taxes?
I've seen one encounter I had where there was 3 of them, and I've never seen any more than that. But here's the thing: it's the ones that you're seeing, you don't have to worry about. It's the ones that you don't see, you got to worry about. Because I do believe these things are pack animals, and that they have an alpha male. They have a social hierarchy. I do believe that they are not monogamous, that they are polygamous. I do believe that the alpha male has a whole harem of females that he actually mates with. So I mean, there's been people that said they've seen 6 or 7 at once. And it could be anywhere from 1 to 10, I believe, in a family unit. But whenever I could give you a definitive number, I couldn't even tell you.
If you had a guess, are there a couple thousand Bigfoot left?
I would believe so. I mean, there's been Bigfoot sightings on every continent with the exception of Antarctica. And they've been seen in the Himalayan mountains, the Bhutan mountains. They've been seen in China, Japan, Australia, Africa, India, Europe, Russia, Canada, the North American states, in the lower 48, and all throughout South America. I do believe that these things are out there, but to give you a definitive number on a population, I couldn't tell you. It's too big. It's too infinite a number for me for my finite mind to actually comprehend.
Squatch, what are your thoughts?
Well, there's got to be enough of a sustainable breeding population. I mean, and they're everywhere. I definitely couldn't sink you a solid number, but at least in the tens of thousands worldwide, not just in America, but worldwide.
So, Joey, where do you stand on Sasquatch? There being that many?
So it's tough for me to kind of give my 2 cents because I obviously am in no way an expert. I've never had a sighting. I would love to see one with my own eyes or irrefutable proof, because it's just, obviously seeing is believing. If I had to put a number on how many there could be with how little they've been photographed, people have seen, like, I'd say it's probably not thousands. I would think maybe less than 1,000, hundreds. But again, I could definittive be wrong.
Yeah, you probably are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually wrong. But it's they have probably outlived. They have and will outlive us. And I would assume that once mankind is dwindled down or gone, that they could, if they're still surviving, they could repopulate.
Yeah. Like,
Well, here's the thing.
Style?
Here's the thing, Mike, and it's something that we've looked at and we've talked about it as a group. That, I was asked one time, how many times do Bigfoot researchers actually see Bigfoot? And I told them, I said, more Bigfoot are seen than you know, but it's kept within the community because we don't need every Jim Bob, Leroy, and Boudreaux running all over the place with gun happy, trying to mount a Bigfoot up on their wall, whenever most of them are just they just want to be left alone.
It's a very good point.
They want to live their life just the way you want to live yours.
A lot of people don't admit when they've seen it because they fear the ridicule.
Yeah.
Of being crazy. Like the area I live in, I have a high population of Amish people. And I have a few that I'm very good friends with, and they'll talk about it. And there's a couple of them that have had sightings in the area. They'll talk about it amongst themselves, but they're not telling the outside world.
So all you hear about Mike is probably 10% of what actually gets seen.
I feel like it's like that with us.
What?
I was gonna say, I feel like it's like that with us as paranormal investigators. I just experienced it this weekend where someone wanted me to go out to dinner tonight. I'm like, well, I do a podcast. Like, oh, what's the podcast on? And it's like, all right, well, so this is what I do. And you always have to, for me, I always like ease into it because you don't know, people are going to look at you and go, no, you're crazy. You're stupid. Or they're like, oh, that's so cool.
Joe, and this is going to go back. Zach's going to get this. This is going to go back to the wrestling conversation we try to have with you. Stop trying to please everybody and stop apologizing for things you do. That's why you're forever going to be a good guy, Joe, because you apologize for things that a heel would never apologize for. Just be who you are and don't worry about what the hell everyone else thinks. Stop saying you're sorry. You Mark?
Well,
all right. Am I paying for this therapy session?
Joey on this one. I'll take up for Joey Paranormal on this one.
All right. I you know what? Squatch, please tell me you got my back on this one. It'd be a great tag team. I guarantee me.
Yeah, I absolutely have your back on this one. Stop.
Well, because what
the world can kiss your ass,
like
dude.
For me, and then the reason I'm saying this is kind of like for me personally. I'm a oddity even with this bunch of guys that I'm teamed up with. If it wasn't that a guy by the name of Zach D Starrick had an open mind and really wanted to push the boundaries of what can be done in research, you wouldn't see me sitting here today, years later. Because a lot of researchers, even in the Bigfoot community, they're leery of what I do because it's not within the norm. It's not, even in the Bigfoot community, it's not the norm. So really, this group of researchers that Zach put together is a anomaly because of the talents that are on this team. You probably won't find on a lot of other teams.
Yeah. So when I went to that Bigfoot con, Zach was definitely somebody very well respected, and it was probably one of the craziest first times meeting somebody in my entire life, because the story he told when we picked him up in the car was just, he gets in the car. Now, me and Kev couldn't be more Italian from like the Rhode Island, New York area if we tried. Just can't. You couldn't if we tried. And Zach gets in the back, and he's got the southern accent. He's talking about putting a gun in someone's face, and then something about his grandfather and something else like that. And I'm just like, I'm listening to the stories, and the funny thing is, I guess what's so messed up about me is that I'm not finding them at all alarming, but some people might. I'm just going, all right. We got back, and I was like, Kev, did you find it weird that he put a gun in someone's face? And Kev was like, no. And I was like, me neither. Like, what's wrong with us? Like, shouldn't we have had a reaction to that at all? No, we didn't. So, but what I mean to say is, what I do know about Zach is that every group liked him. So there were groups that just didn't get along, and I'll be dead honest. There was like one guy who was saying that it was in everybody's mind, and a lot of people went nuts. And this one person made it all religious, and everybody went nuts. But Zach got up, he did his scripted thing. Everybody seems to like Zach. I don't know what it is about Zach, why everyone seems to like him. Maybe you guys don't like him, and you can tell me why it is. But everyone seems to like him, and so I can understand why he would put together a group like this. He understands that part of it.
You're talking about that, it's just that I treat everybody in the Bigfoot community the way I want to be treated. And, it's just like it says right here. I brought my Bible to the show with me. It says right here in Romans chapter 12, verses 17 through 21, it says, repay no one evil for evil. Have regard for good things in the sight of all men. If it is possible, as much as depends on you, live peaceably with all men. Beloved, do not avenge yourselves, but rather give place to wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. Therefore, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him drink. For in so doing, you will heap coals of fire on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. That's the verse, that's the passage I live by. And that's the passage that I go and I try to go and instill with my team and everything, Just the other day, we had a deal with another researcher that actually raised a fuss to TikTok on one of the TikToks I put out promoting our show, Mysterious Illinois, and it got taken down. Well, I did some digging and come to find out it's the same guy that I've had beef with for the last couple of years. But I put it out there. Well, and Gail was wanting to go and find him, but I said, be professional. Be kind, good to him, because, it'll pay off in the end and everything, and karma will come back and bite him on the butt.
So, Zach, you are 100% right in the long run. In the long run of things. Now, see, I'm much older than probably everybody here, and I
like you already, Mike. That's brownie points.
Stitch, I honestly think that I might be older than you. You just can't tell because of all the fake. I got a fake beard, all that stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't actually know what I was about to try to say, to be completely honest. But what I'm trying to get at, though, and what I have written down is this. You know how to put together a good team. I overreact like Squatch does, and I want to get things done and taken care of, and I want people to pay immediately for things like that. And even in my older age, I still have that problem sometimes where I not only want them to know they were wrong, but I just want to kind of go that one step further and put it in their face. So I'm a little crisscross with that. You know what I mean? Like there's nicer people than me. Life is how it is. Now, guys,
it's just like with Sasquatch. That's the reason I put him as security and everything. I can trust him to get the job done, but I know that I can leave him alone, and he'll go and he'll be professional about it, because it's just like I tell everybody with the team and everything, because we follow a moral code and everything. What one person does on this team in public reflects on us as a group. So I tell them, don't do what you wouldn't do in front of your own mother or your pastor.
Well, I wish I told these guys that same story.
We're all God-fearing men and everything. We're all brought up in some kind of religion, whether it was Lutheran, Catholic, Baptist, Pentecost, Methodist, what have you. We were all brought up in church and everything. And it's like I tell them, don't act in public the way you wouldn't act in private around your mother or your pastor, because what you do as an individual will reflect on us.
Joey, did you write any of that down?
No, because I agree. I agree with what he's saying. So I feel the exact same way.
All right. Well,
Mike, don't get it wrong now. I'm of Irish descent, living in South Louisiana. Zach had to kind of calm my little Irish feathers down a little bit himself. You know, because I was right there with Gail. I'm Irish and big mouth, so you know. So yeah, Zach had to remind me of ease up, Hoss. Just pump the brakes and think about it, and
That's always
he's
the
a
best.
very good leader when it comes to letting us know that there's a time to pump the brakes and then there's time to hit the gas pedal.
And that's
Well,
how
the
it
funny
works.
part is he's a young pup out of the group.
Yeah, he's the young buck out of the group, but he's the smartest one out of the group.
Yeah.
I like to think I'm the same
and
way.
it was just like I was telling somebody the other day. I said, I'm the leader of this group. I'm going to be 27 here, March 31st, and everything. And everybody except for Grady and Gunner, we call Gunner Doc, are the youngest ones on the group and everything. And they're all bigger than me. They were all athletes, and they were stars on athletes. I was the guy on the sidelines. But here's and I tell them, I say, I'm 5'9", and weigh about 260 pounds, and all these guys are taller than me, and then little old me barking orders at them all the time.
Yeah, see, with our group, we're a medley of characters. I don't think you guys played ball. Did you really, Joe or Buddy? Right? You guys aren't from the basketball side of stuff.
No, not basketball. No.
Baseball for me.
Baseball.
Was that? What did you say? Wiffle ball?
Ha ha! Funny.
Baseball.
Funny.
Yeah.
Hey, so guys, we have what we're doing now is a channel. It's Legit Podcast Radio. Trying to do it without looking at it. Airtime.pro. What we got is it's 7 days a week. We're doing 24 hours of programming a day. We actually have enough back catalog in all of our shows to do 2 straight weeks without a repeat. So what we're also in the act of doing, though, is adding new shows and putting them in like a primetime spot. I think starting next week, I'm trying to put together like a Cosby night. And I don't mean to use Cosby in the sense of Cosby, but I'm trying to depict the night. Back on a Thursday night on NBC, they had that hit row of like Cosby and like Cheers and like Night Court, like all the shows you want to see. That's what I mean by Cosby, not to slip it in the drink stuff. That's what I want to do for Sunday nights.
And then me and Mike have been talking back and forth about it, and I'm going to call a vote between me and Gail and Stacy. They're wanting to put the Wrestling with Monsters podcast, and hopefully if I get this other one going, the Spreading the Good Word podcast, which is basically a Bible study kind of podcast. What do you guys say? Yay or nay on them picking up our podcast for their podcasting network? I say yay.
Oh, I'm all for
absolutely.
it. I mean, it's more the merrier, and let's have fun.
It would be.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
There you go, Mike.
Count me in.
Be phenomenal, buddy. Who have we gotten so far?
We got the Johnsons, Carl and Keith Johnson. They both have individualized shows. Carl is with James Anito. They do dual demonology. 2 demonologists from Rhode Island. Keith Johnson, his twin brother, has the show Ghosts and Near, which has been on public access television and YouTube for over a decade here in Rhode Island. I myself was a guest on the show, season 11. Very good show. Very good talk show. Has a bevy of paranormal people. We also got Chris Balzano, who's used to be from Massachusetts. He did a lot with Tim Weisberg and Spooky South Coast. He now does Tripping Legends. He's in Florida, but he does a lot of these like legendary cases, like the Indian hauntings on Route 44 or Anawan Rock or Bridgewater Triangle or the triangle down in Bermuda down there now. He does stuff in Florida. So
The Bermuda Triangle, yes.
These guys present for their different podcasts and different shows.
Yeah, we're looking to get a very eclectic group of shows. Because we have our sports nights. We got a couple local people that are doing it's a real estate podcast. There's this, that, the other. But I want my wrestling on a Wednesday, and I want my paranormal on a Sunday. And I think if we can band all the shows together and cross-pollinate, then we could do something for each other. You know what I mean? Get some sort of buzz going. So that's how the summer's looking. We got to host a couple of things coming up. We're at a couple of Paracons. I don't know how I ended up here, but here I am now. I'll be honest. What do I know, right? So there I go. And that's that. What do you guys got to say to wrap it up? Zach, you go first. Anything to promote? Anyone?
Well, we got quite a few irons in the fire, and we're been keeping this under wraps and everything. But me and the team actually got contacted by the same production company that made the Creature of Big Muddy documentary. And come April 1st through the 3rd, me, Gail, and Stacy, and our team will be in the Shawnee National Forest, actually filming an entire weekend investigation in the Shawnee National Forest, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Coming up in July, we're going to be going and doing a sort of a Bigfoot Squatch Fest at the Pittsburgh City Hall and everything. We'll be giving our lecture and everything, along with doing a showing of the Creature from Big Muddy. The Little Egypt Ghost Society will be there. The research and investigators of the paranormal will be there. And some stars from the actual movie will be there. And I got to tell you guys this, that documentary that I was selling there in Virginia, I sold out that while we were in Virginia, but the producer and director got a hold of me, and he said that documentary has been seen as of a month ago in 700,000 households and in 10 countries plus, since it was released a year ago.
Wow.
So, and they're coming out, and I'm going to be helping directing and producing the actual documentary. And I will tell you this, it ain't like on Alaska Monsters or Swamp Monsters or Finding Bigfoot. None of it's going to be staged. It's all going to be raw, uncut, and uncensored, and you get to see the Southern Illinois monster hunters actually do it. Other than
Can I bring up one idea? Can I give you one idea on that?
No, you're not wearing the Bigfoot costume and the G-string, Mike.
No, just the G-string. I wouldn't wear the Bigfoot costume. I'm saying we filmed some fake bloopers, like that obviously didn't take place, and I'll be the guy, like it will make me look stupid, like that I saw something and it wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like they used to do in the Cannonball Run. And you guys with me? Joe, you're too young. But everybody else, do you remember the end of the Cannonball Run? The bloopers would come out, and it was Stacy. I don't mean to call you old, my friend. You remember Cannonball Run? The end of the
dude. I still remember Adrienne Barbeau when she got pulled over in the Lambo,
right,
and tried to get out of the speed ticket. Yes,
zipping it down. Man, I love that movie. Man, I'm a Burt Reynolds fan. Can't help it. Squatch, what are you gonna say to wrap it up?
Boys, it was real nice to meet all of you, and I just hope everybody keeps an open mind, and y'all have a good evening.
Awesome. Stacy?
hey, it was great to be on here. Thank you for having us on here and everything. And I'll put the invitation out to you, Joey. You said you ever wanted to see a Bigfoot. That's what you asked for, because I can walk you up face to face if you ever want to.
I'd love to do that. I'd love to try to get the experience.
You know, I'll tell somebody that. I told somebody that one time, and they're like, can we keep it about 25, 30 yards away? And I said, hey, we can get as close as you want to get.
I'll tell you up front, I am not Mike, and as long if I see it from a distance, I'll be like, cool, all right, it'll probably tear me apart.
But yeah, I'll be up in Illinois, and I'm the only non-Illinois person on the team, so I got to bring a little Southern charm up to Southern Illinois.
I just hope
Just like we did tonight on the podcast, us Southerners brought you Northerners some culture. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, the thing about the Northeastern people, we are very
you Yankees.
very stupid and very much believing that we are right.
But I'll say this though, Mike. Up there where y'all are at, y'all have a lot of places that are on my wish list of wanting to go to and do research at.
The armory that Buddy deals with is by far a place that if you're into history, as far as old Civil War flags, uniforms, stuff like that, the armory in Rhode Island is, that one is, Buddy, right? It's ridiculous.
Barnum Armory.
Barnum, probably one of the best in the country, honestly. Their collection, it's like nothing I've ever seen. It's a lot of Rhode Island-based collection stuff, but Civil War, World War I, World War II, Spanish-American War, Cold War soon coming soon. There as they are
Well, I mean-
expanding.
I mean, up there, you got the Bridgewater Triangle up there. Y'all got
Yep.
Salem and Massachusetts
Yep.
up there.
Yep.
Y'all got so many paranormal spots that are on
Yeah,
the
we do.
bucket list that I couldn't even.
The oldest section of the United States.
Yeah, this is it. But it's not fun. There's a lot of traffic, and people are generally rude. So,
Gets cold. It's really
Joey,
cold
what do
right
you
now.
what do you got to say to wrap it up?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, I was talking like always. I just want to say thank you guys for the conversation. Like I've mentioned before, I don't know a lot about, especially Bigfoot, other creatures of that nature. So it's always great to get to talk to people who are way more knowledgeable about a subject like this than me. And I appreciate the information. And I do hope one day that I can get a chance to investigate or at least have the experience, because I either even being a Yankee, even though I hate being called the Yankee because I'm a Red Sox fan. I spend a lot of time in the woods. I love being outside. So I'd love to be able to just kind of spend a couple days out in the woods, just hoping to have an experience like that.
Buddy.
Like like Joe said, seeing is definitely believing. I would love to see something someday, gentlemen. Anytime you guys want to come up here, I can show you some ghost stuff. That's absolutely amazing. I'd like to thank the three of you for coming on. I'd like to remind everybody lunch is at Nikki's Liquor Store in Providence. It's
How
really
could we forget?
And next week, tune in. We have a paranormal investigator and fellow podcaster Russ Stiver. Russ will join us, and we'll talk about ghosts and ghost hunting and podcasting as well, and all that good stuff.
All right. So, it's Legit Paranormal for Zach Starrick, for Squatch, for Stacy, for Buddy, Joey Paranormal. It's me. It's Mike Leper King Mike L. This was Legit Paranormal for legitpodcast.com. Thank you for watching. We will be back again next Sunday. We are done.